Diplomatic relations between India and Canada appeared to have collapsed on Monday as both countries expelled 6 each other top diplomats following India's refusal to remove the diplomatic immunity on some of its diplomats. Canadian government suspected to have been involved in criminal acts and murder of Sikh separatist leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was agitating for the declaration of Khalistan Republic from India, whom Indian security had accused of being a member of Khalistan Tiger Force, KTF, a secessionist armed group that was declared a terrorist organization by India government in February 2023. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was killed with multiple gunshots in Canada on June 18, 2023. Canadian government accused 6 Indian diplomats of aiding the criminal act and killing of the separatist leader on its soil. On Monday, Canada expelled the 6 diplomats following India to remove immunity clause to pave way for Canadian security operatives to investigate them. India, in a swift reaction on Monday, retaliated and expelled 6 top Canadian diplomats and said it has recalled its diplomats from Canada on the ground that they were no longer safe in the North America country. Khalistan is the name of the proposed state envisioned by some Sikhs, incorporating the Indian state of Punjab as well as other Punjabi-speaking areas of northern India to establish a Sikh nation. The ethno-religious liberation movement gained attention in the 1970s and early 1980s in India. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in a press conference said, "The Indian government made a fundamental error in thinking that they could engage in supporting criminal activities against Canadians here on Canadian soil." The Economic Times reported that after New Delhi expelled 6 Canadian diplomats from India, foreign policy expert and senior fellow at the Observer Research Foundation, Sushant Sarin, called for an investigation into Canada's interference in India's internal affairs. He emphasized the need to probe Canadian NGOs and embassies that support Khalistan elements. "The calling back of our officials, about whom Canadians have said that investigations can be done against them. If you say this about any official that they will be investigated, then it becomes completely dishonest for them to stay in the country. The official can't function there," Sarin said. Sarin asserted that India has given a strong reaction, but along with it, there should also be some action. "The reaction is quite strong, but along with the reaction, there should be some action also. Canada's interference in India, be it their NGOs, their embassies, should also be investigated so that they can be exposed as to how they encourage Khalistanists." He added, "India can keep open embassies but can close their consulates if relations deteriorate further." Sarin also spoke about the deteriorating relations between the two nations and asserted that even if Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is not there in power, the relations will not get better soon. Reuters reported and stated that the diplomatic row represents a major deterioration of relations between the two Commonwealth countries. Ties have been frayed since Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said last year he had evidence linking Indian agents to the assassination of Sikh leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar on Canadian territory. The government now has clear and compelling evidence that agents of the government of India have engaged in and continue to engage in activities that pose a significant threat to public safety, Trudeau said at a news conference. These activities involved clandestine information gathering techniques, coercive behavior, targeting South Asian Canadians, and involvement in over a dozen threatening and violent acts, including murder, he said. "This is unacceptable," he said, adding that India had committed a fundamental error by engaging in criminal activities in Canada. India has long denied Trudeau's accusations. On Monday, it dismissed Canada's move on the inquiry and accused Trudeau of pursuing a political agenda. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police said in an earlier news conference the government of India had undertaken a broad campaign against Indian dissidents, including homicides and extortion. It had also used organized crime to target the South Asian community in Canada and interfered in democratic processes, police said. Bridget Govin, RCMP's Assistant Commissioner, said, "What we have seen is the use of organized crime elements, and named the Bishnoi Group. She said the group, we believe, is connected to the agents of the government of India. Canada's foreign ministry said, the decision to expel these individuals was made with great consideration and only after the RCMP gathered ample, clear and concrete evidence which identified 6 individuals as persons of interest in the Nijjar case. India said it was withdrawing its diplomats from Canada because it was not confident that their safety could be guaranteed. We have no faith in the current Canadian government's commitment to ensure their security. Therefore, the government of India has decided to withdraw the High Commissioner and other targeted diplomats and officials, India's foreign ministry said in a statement. India also said it had asked 6 Canadian diplomats to leave by Saturday. The ministry also said it had summoned acting High Commissioner in India Stuart Wheeler, currently Canada's top diplomat in the South Asian country. Canada's foreign minister, Melanie Joly, said the government had requested India to remove the diplomatic immunity of 6 diplomats so that the Canadian investigative agencies could question them regarding the allegations of criminal activity. But since India did not cooperate, it had to expel the diplomats. We're not seeking diplomatic confrontation with India, she said, but we will not sit quietly as agents of any country are linked to efforts to threaten, harass or even kill Canadians. Canada withdrew more than 40 diplomats from India in October 2023 after New Delhi asked Ottawa to reduce its diplomatic presence, according to Reuters. Group of protesters in Sweden last week carried coffins on their heads, marching the streets, demanding an end to ongoing war in Gaza, Lebanon and for Israel to stop alleged killing of innocent children in the affected countries. The mock coffins carried by the protesters in Stockholm, Sweden were mainly that of children allegedly killed by Israel in Gaza and Lebanon. Israel has been in war with the Palestinian fighters, Hamas, after the Hamas fighters invaded southern Israel on October 7, 2023, killing more than 1,000 of Israeli residents with another set of thousands injured and took away hundreds of other people as hostages. Israel has since responded with full military operation, causing huge devastation and humanitarian destructions in the Palestinian Gaza Strip with more than 40,000 people killed in exchange, according to Gaza Health Ministry. In late September 2024, Israel extended its military operations to Lebanon, killing thousands of people, which the Israeli Authority claimed the attacks were targeted at Hezbollah members and leaders. Meanwhile, hundreds of protesters silently marched the streets while carrying coffins above their heads in Stockholm, Sweden, to show solidarity with Palestine and Lebanon. The protesters carried symbolic coffins as a part of their demonstration in memory of the nearly 17,000 Palestinian children who have been killed thus far, according to local media. Another group of protesters, also in Malmö, Sweden, marched in support of Palestine and Lebanon, condemning Israeli aggression. Reuters had reported that Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg had accused German police of overly heavy-handed tactics in breaking up a pro-Palestinian camp ahead of her planned visit. Police dismantled the site in the western German city of Dortmund a day earlier after an announcement from Thunberg that she planned to go to the protest camp. Police said they would arrest me if I went there, Thunberg tweeted on X on Wednesday. All this just because the students had invited me to speak at their event, and I had been to a pro-Palestinian protest in Berlin the day before that police has stormed. Germany is threatening and silencing activists who speak out against the genocide and occupation, she said. Thunberg has repeatedly expressed her solidarity with Palestinians and accused Israel of genocide in recent months. Israel has strongly rejected such accusations after South Africa brought a case to the International Court of Justice last year accusing Israel of breaking the 1948 Genocide Convention. While preliminary hearings have already been held in the case, the court is expected to take years to reach a final decision. Dortmund officials said the decision was made, among other things, because Thunberg's appearance would probably have attracted more people to the protest camp than originally allowed. Police said they had taken down the camp, which had been in place for several months, in a peaceful manner, with 7 protesters present. Since the Hamas attack on Israel a year ago and with Israel's subsequent military action in the Gaza Strip, Thunberg has regularly attended pro-Palestine. Not less than 19 persons have been confirmed to have sustained injuries when a Mysuru Darbhanga Bagmati Superfast Express train collided with a stationary goods train at Kavarapeta station in India, derailing 12 coaches and setting 3 on fire late on Friday. It was gathered that out of the 19 people who sustained injuries, 4 of them were in critical condition. Local media reported that the Mysuru Darbhanga Bagmati Express collides with the goods train near Chennai, leading to several coaches derailing and catching fire. Emergency services rushed to the site of the incident on Friday night, as India may be known for incessant train accidents in recent years. Unconfirmed reports indicated that the Bagmati Express was apparently running at 75 km per hour when it collided with another train, causing 12 coaches to derail and some caught fire. We had reported in July last year that more than 288 people were killed and 1,000 others injured in late Friday evening multiple train accidents in the Indian state of Odisha. 2 passenger trains and a goods train collided in Balasore, leaving at least 288 people dead and over 1,000 injured, according to Sudhanshu Sarangi, Director General of Odisha Fire Services. The accident, considered as the world's deadliest train crash in the recent 2 decades, involved 3 trains: the 12,841 Coromandel Express, the 12,864 SMBT Bengaluru Howrah SF Express, and a goods train. Residents in Odisha posted video of large numbers of the train dead victims on the floor at a mortuary or holding room, said to be more than 288 in numbers. The 3 trains, Bengaluru Howrah Superfast Express, Shalimar Chennai Central Coromandel Express and a goods train collided at Bahanagar station in the Balasore district of Odisha. The triple crash is the country's deadliest rail accident in more than 20 years, as wreckage debris was seen piled high at the crash site, where some carriages had been tossed far from the tracks and others flipped over entirely. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday visited the accident site, of where he reviewed the ongoing relief and rescue operation works. He was seen interacting with local authorities, personnel from the disaster relief forces, railways officials, and thereafter walked round the crashed site. He also visited the hospital to see the victims undergoing medical treatment, as at the time of filing in this report. On Friday evening the accident occurred. Smashed train compartments were torn open, leaving blood-stained holes in their sides. Stable survivors joined others to rescue those trapped inside the trains. Rescue operation continued overnight till Saturday, with the Indian military personnel called to support the rescue efforts just as carriages flipped over entirely in the crash late on Friday, as the rescue team searched for survivors trapped in the mangled wreckage, with scores of bodies laid out under white sheets beside the tracks. The cause of the train accident is yet to be officially stated, as unconfirmed reports indicated that during the same time the tragic train accident, the Kanyakumari Express also tried to be derailed by track sabotage near Trichy by placing large tires on track by miscreants. Vigilant railway authorities were, however, said to be able to stop the sabotage. Also, few days ago, the Alapura-Kane Express was said to be targeted for arson, located only 100 meters away from a massive BPCL fuel storage tank. The intention, according to local media, was to cause a huge blast from the fuel tank that could have flattened the entire area. 2 months ago, miscreants was reported to attempt to carry out a similar attack on the same train but were apprehended. Last year, on November 22nd, again, local media in India reported that disaster was averted. After finding a confirmed terror incident done to create optics, kill as many, by cracking open train tracks. Accordingly, Indian intelligence was reportedly said to be able to avert the disaster for
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.